So Nathan Sutton, Elisha Sutton. It's Elisha, right?
Elisha.
Elisha, or
That's
the
right.
kind. Okay, okay. So Nathan Sutton, Elisha Sutton, and Nelson Lee. Good to have you guys here chatting about New Year.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you
nice
for
to be
having
here.
us.
I figured I'd start with some New Year questions actually. So, what are some of your guys' New Year's Eve traditions?
That's a good one. Well, our new tradition is going to be to watch New Year every year.
That's the best answer.
Prior to us watching New Year every year, we all worked in the bar industry, so we would spend New Year's working for many years.
Not all of us. Nelson
He
did.
did.
Long
Long
ago.
time.
Long
Long
ago.
time.
Long
And then we
ago.
busted out, and now it's the new tradition is to try not to ruin any friendships.
Exactly.
Okay, sometimes difficult. Okay. Now, do you guys have any New Year's resolutions you usually have that you kind of break a few weeks in?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't think any of us have usually people that make resolutions. Not that
No.
I'm against it.
You
But...
speak for yourself.
Okay, no, sorry.
Oh,
I actually do every
You
year.
do.
I don't really do a resolution. I do a goal.
He does,
I
and he
will-
writes them down.
I will write whatever comes to mind. I'll spend an afternoon writing goals, and they come true.
Well, he will go back years later
Yeah.
and check them.
Start looking them over to see how I've done on my goals list.
Yeah.
So not a resolution because
So a vision board.
Yeah.
Call it in.
Exactly.
I like writing on a board.
I put pictures up.
No, it's not a vision board. This is what I want. I want to manifest.
Exactly.
I like the reference.
Oh, no, we just don't. I just kind of am like, okay, is this day gonna pass yet? Let's let this day go. And now it's just another day, you know?
I'd also love to ask, what was the inspiration behind just setting this at New Year's instead of something maybe like similar like Christmas?
That's a good question, actually. I don't really know why we did that.
I don't think it was
I don't think it was purposeful, really.
purposeful.
Yeah,
And we didn't want to make a Christmas movie, but I think that probably,
had to do with the game.
well, no, just through the writing of, I think it probably happened organically through the writing because of the subject matter of getting a chance to start anew.
Over, yeah.
And
And a lot of people were doing that, and obviously in the movie.
yeah, having that happen on a birthday or 4th of July doesn't have the same impact as
Yeah.
just metaphorically as what New Year does. But we wanted everybody to confront themselves and their friend group and then sort of be left with everything in shambles in a sense. And I think the holiday New Year presents an opportunity for change that Christmas or Thanksgiving wouldn't provide.
That's a very good answer there, Nathan.
Thank you.
Was that I love you, I hate you game always there from the beginning then?
Yeah, the
It
actual
evolved.
the words evolved throughout the years, but the game itself was there from our first draft.
Yeah.
And that we're all 3 actors, and the I Love You, I Hate You is actually an acting class game that we used to play. But
Okay.
just I Love You, I Hate You. What happens afterwards is sort of the sadistic take for Ben and his group of friends. Did you play that game at your school, Mo?
I did not. I
No.
did not.
Real acting. We went to the North Hollywood acting.
Okay. Now, I have a random one here. There is a weird portrait of Ben and Kat, the characters in the film. What does it take to commission something like that?
I wish he was here.
My brother would
44
be
years of familial
so
relationships.
happy that you asked that question, and he wishes that would be here right now. But it would take probably like 2 days for him to
Do you
answer
want
that
the in answer or the true answer?
Ooh, true, like the game.
The in-print answer would be at somewhere, I don't know, $20,000 to commission that. I'll throw out his price.
I like
somewhere around
that,
there.
yes.
The truth is that some things fell through as they do in independent film at the last minute, and our art director, which is her brother, happens to be an amazing painter, and he had 36 hours to come up with that painting. And I asked him to do it on Friday night, and we needed it for Monday morning to start shooting. And he did it outside in our backyard in 2 days, based on a style of painting that he had done.
It was a picture of, yeah.
And it turned out far and away better than any of us had anticipated, to the point where it had to become the focal piece of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. And it's Joseph Scorman is the name of the art director?
Yes.
Okay. I'm a credits watcher, so I noticed the same.
Great.
Yeah, so that's cool. Awesome. Now, I'd also love to ask about like the technical aspects of the film, just because I love good cinematography, and I just be curious what decisions went into shooting this in black and white, and also the aspect ratio that is used.
So black and white was always non-negotiable for me for a couple of reasons. When we did our first movie, Autumn Wonder, the company that ended up distributing it sold it in a way that I wasn't really happy with. And I think drew in an audience that wasn't necessarily the audience for that film. And so from the beginning, I knew that we wanted to make this film in black and white so that we could talk to a certain type of audience who wants to watch black and white film and be challenged by black and white film. Beyond that, it's what was necessary for this story. There's a Mike Nichols quote where he says, black and white film, I'm gonna butcher it a little bit, but black and white film just, it does the work for you because it's automatically a metaphor. These aren't real people, these are characterizations of people. So that's where the origin of black and white started from. Outside of that, I just love old movies, and a lot of what Otto Preminger was doing is kind of where the seeds for what we wanted to do with camera movement for this movie, with movies like Laura and Anatomy of a Murder. The movements on that is where I was kind of hoping to get the inspiration from. The aspect ratio, I think in the back of my head, it's what I always wanted to do, but it was not planned until we did our first day of rehearsals with the camera. I'm getting really geeky technical, so sorry.
I love it.
But I really wanted to isolate every character. It was important for us to isolate each character from one another. And when we tried to do it in 16:9, it would look like this. And we have all characters sort of, you could see their shoulders and it wouldn't work for a close-up. I needed to have everybody completely separate. And because as the film goes, we started on a wide lens and then slowly narrowed down to make everything feel much more claustrophobic as the film went on. And so 4:3 was really the only option because we couldn't move walls in this set. Everybody had to be isolated in a way that 4:3 only can. And it also frames the face better than anything else.
And also, I have to give major credit to our DP, Michael Lockridge, him and Nathan have some kind of unspoken language that they do with each other. It's beautiful and inspiring, and it's just really lovely to watch them work together. They just figure things out in just such an easy, careless way.
I wish he was here to talk about it, but we were shooting on a Chapman dolly, but he had designed a rig where the camera was on a remote. It was like a remote hand that he was controlling from another room. So there was a dolly running a camera with nobody on the camera. The first AC was pulling focus from another room, and our DP was using the wheels to control the camera panning left and right from another room. So we were all
pretty
like
spectacular
on our headphones whispering to each other, pan left.
Oh, that's awesome. You saying that just makes it seem even more like a play with this, like giving stage directions almost. So was that always the intention? And can you talk about approaching that from like a directing point of view and also an acting point of view for Elisha and Nelson?
Yeah, from a directing side, I have diagrams of like where every actor's moving and where the camera had to go. So this was all sort of like pre-designed in a certain way because we only had 12 days to shoot. So we didn't get to really figure things out. Everything sort of had to be planned ahead of time. And it absolutely was a dance between the actors and the camera. The last shot of the movie, which I won't give away too much, but I mean, there's like 4 people hiding with different flags trying to move lights so that we don't get, so we can do the move that we want to do without catching anybody in it. It was just this really magical way that.
Well, all the actors are hiding under the table.
Yeah, we were all on.
Really? That's where you guys went?
You run out the door, but you're really just.
Nobody's seen it.
Well, he's. I know. I guess I shouldn't say that, but he's seen the movie. And I forget that we're talking.
Yeah, it's just there's some magic that happens in a film. If everybody's got their heart in the right spot, things just work out. But from the technical side, there was 2 to 3 months of work that went into the choreography before any actors came in on set, and then we had 3 days of rehearsal. And I'll let you guys talk to that.
Oh, awesome.
Well, like for us, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, Nelson, but but I will. We've known each other for so long too, so we already had a lot of the people in the movie, a lot of the actors in the movie are friends. Some of them weren't. We had to cast, but we have a chemistry that is already there because you have all those years of being friends. And then also we've had a lot of time with this material, at least with the characters. Like we had multiple readings of the script, and Nelson knew he was playing this role forever. I mean, I'm sure at some point he was like, we're never going to make this movie, but we were determined to make the movie. And so I think that all of that goes into what you see on screen. It's like the hidden magic behind it.
Okay.
And I think because of all of Nathan and Elisha's kind of due diligence to have everything kind of the framework worked out, like everything diagrammed, as actors, it's kind of freeing because if you were doing a play, you'd go through the blocking, you do table work, and you get up and you get on feet. But he did all that for us. So basically, we just had to kind of slot into the game plan and just be present. And so, in a way, it was actually really easy and freeing just to go and like show up and just hit our marks and talk with our friends. So it was great.
Okay, cool. Now, Nathan, I noticed that in your filmography, you also do acting. So were you ever considering acting in the film, or was the directing bit too involved to do that?
I acted in our first film and directed it, and I don't recommend it unless you have a ton of support and a ton of time and a ton of money, because you're just putting too much at risk. And I didn't mind doing that the first time around because I paid for it. This time we had investors, and I just didn't feel like it was the best way to protect their money, to be sort of, you only have so much bandwidth, and if you're focusing on one, you can't focus on the other. And this was a relatively intense from the directorial side that I felt like I had to have all my focus on that. If something were to fall through, I was prepared to step in when necessary, but I didn't want to do that this time around. And I think it made for a better film. It would have, if I was doing it, would have been doing it selfishly. It wouldn't have been what was best for the movie.
Okay. Now, would you have played one of the current characters, or would you have added a different one?
I would have played Kat. I mean, I knew all the characters. I was like the understudy for anybody who needed to have to step in. Not that it ever would have happened. It was just like, with low budget film, you're sort of prepared for anything and everything to go wrong at the last second. So in the back of my mind, I could have stepped in had Nelson booked some massive movie that, who else are we going to get that in 2 minutes can come in and know this material, that kind of thing.
Which he did. He booked a massive movie. He's booked a couple of big movies, and it was frightening. We made this movie at the perfect time where everybody was able to be there. We're really lucky.
It was right before COVID too.
It was right before the pandemic.
He had done
right before COVID.
He had just done Mulan, and Neil had just come off of The Kingsman, and Tim Murphy, who plays Ben, was also shooting another TV. He was playing the main bad guy in a TV show's season finale.
What show is something like
it was the Jessica Alba
show.
show.
Jessica.
Like LA's Finest.
Yeah, that's right.
He was shooting that show while doing our movie and pulling basically double duty for us.
Yeah.
So
we got very lucky though because of the pandemic. It was literally like 2 weeks later, and then everything shut down.
The world shut down.
We were all like, "Are we all gonna die?"
Oh wow, that's awesome. Now, Elisha, was it always your plan to play Kat here?
It's so strange because I I feel like I want to say yes, but then when it
Yes.
actually came to playing Kat, I was terrified and I didn't want to do it, and I wanted to back out, mostly because I was a new mother. I have twins, and I was scared that I wouldn't be able to live up to whatever Kat needed, and I was scared I couldn't relate to her in any way, and I feared that that we worked on this beautiful character and we wrote this role, and that I just wouldn't be able to do it, and I couldn't live up to who she needed to be. But Nathan wouldn't fire me, which I'm very happy that he wouldn't, because I tried to convince him there at the end. We could have gotten somebody maybe with a little bit more star power, and Nathan was like, no, you're playing this role, and I just had to do it, and I'm so glad I did, because it was just such a great experience for me, also just coming out of being a mom and knowing that I could be an actress again and be a person outside of being a mom. So it was really freeing and beautiful for me.
We had 13-month-old twins at the time, and so it was our first time away from our kids at all.
Yeah.
Really.
Wow. Congrats on the twins.
Thank you.
That's intense being away, but I think the film is worth it, I think.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we were like, do we have to go back?
I know. After that, I was like, I can do this. I can work.
Okay.
And then the pandemic hit, and we all just had to stay home, and
Fair. Now, I also had a writing question. I'm just going to look at my questions for this because it's a bit wordy, but just, I think that like this is such a dialogue heavy film, and good dialogue I find is hard to come by. So I'd be curious what went into thinking about the conversation topics, kind of developing the characters and how they interact with each other.
I think that's the time too that it took. It's not that we worked on it consistently for 6 years, but Nathan and I, we work best when we work on something, get it out, and then we take time away from it and go live life and have experiences and come back to the material. I think that's like letting it breathe a little bit is part of what goes into it. And also, I don't know what you mean.
I mean, I think our experience as actors has really informed a lot of the writing that we do, the type of stuff that we're drawn to, but also just, I think to be a good actor, you also have to know what goes into good writing in terms of dialogue and making it conversational. We were open to improv, but only to the extent that it fits with the character. And
Yeah, not really.
But I don't think they really needed to do that, because we had crafted in a way that felt relatively conversational.
And table reads.
To answer your question more directly, I think it was just time. It was very, very important for me to make this film feel as timeless as it could. And that, I think, only happened after 6 years of being able to go back and forth, and all of the conversations. I mean, there's a cell phone in it that sort of bugs me, because like if you take that cell phone out, I don't think you could place what year within 100-year period this film takes place in. And that was intentional. We very much didn't want to be bound by anything. They were just generic ideas and generic feelings that every human being has, and we're gonna attack them from a very specific way.
Okay. I think that's actually good for my last one, just because like one thing I noticed was just at the beginning of the film, the jazzy score brings us in, the black and white, and kind of transports us to a different time, like immediately. So if you had to pinpoint a year, would it be modern day, or would it be earlier?
I mean, it is modern day. It's just more like I wanted it to transcend a specific time, like so much of when this was written was started in Obama's years through Trump's years, and then shot in the last of Trump's years. Like that span is so drastically different that if you tried to say like it was 2019 versus 2022 versus 2015, like it sort of doesn't matter in terms of the story, because we just want to get to like the heart of what these people are going through, and that shouldn't necessarily matter what year that takes place in. We can still watch It's a Wonderful Life every year and know exactly what the guy's going through, because it hits the right way.
Okay. All right, neat. And we can also watch New Year every year now too.
Oh, thank you. I like that.
Cool. So, sorry.
bringing it back. He's bringing it back to the beginning.
Just
That's
don't
all
play the
he's-
game with any friends. That's all I know.
Exactly. Now, can we plug when people can find the film? I don't know if you have it offhand, or I could just do it in
Yes,
post.
so we're in New York and LA starting on 12/15. We're supposed to roll out to other theaters in January, and then we will have VOD sometime in early 2022, but I don't have that date yet.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So Nathan, Elisha, and Nelson, thank you guys for chatting with me about New Year on the Film Craziest
you.
Show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
All Canadians are. I swear.
Oh,